What if I told you that cannabis was used to clean up Chernobyl? Yes. The same plant government spent decades banning was quietly working at one of the most toxic disaster zones on the planet, not as a drug, but as a biological cleanup machine, a green vacuum, a living sponge capable of absorbing radioactive metals straight out of the soil. This is the story of bioremediation, nuclear fallout, and the plant scientists now call heavy metal kush. Background setup. Heavy metal pollution isn't just the result of sloppy factories or old pipelines leaking into the ground. It's a silent crisis, one that builds slowly, invisibly, and permanently. Elements like lead, cadmium, chromium, mercury, arsenic, and radioactive cesium don't behave like chemical spills or oil leaks. They don't break down over time. They don't evaporate or dissolve. They sit, for centuries, sometimes longer. Once these metals enter an ecosystem, you're left with only two options. Option 1, excavation. Dig up the soil, load it into trucks, move it somewhere else, and hope it stays contained. It's expensive, dangerous, slow, and often spreads contaminants even further. Option 2, let nature fix what humans broke, and this is where phytoremediation comes in. Phytoremediation is the science of using plants as detox agents, nature's own cleanup crew. Think of it as farming, but instead of growing food, you're growing soil purifiers. And among hundreds of plant candidates, industrial hemp, a non-psychoactive strain of cannabis, turned out to be one of the most powerful. Not because it gets you high, but because it pulls poisons out of the earth like a biological magnet. Main body deep dive. Cannabis at Chernobyl, the unexpected hero. When Chernobyl melted down in 1986, an entire region of fertile farmland became a radioactive wasteland overnight. Radiation didn't just coat the surface, it seeped deep into the soil, into groundwater, into everything living. Scientists needed a plant that could grow fast, survive harsh, toxic conditions, produce large biomass, absorb multiple heavy metals at once, be planted repeatedly over many seasons. Several plants were tested: sunflowers, mustards, rye, poplar trees, but one plant outperformed nearly all of them: hemp, Cannabis sativa, industrial grade, zero intoxication, maximum remediation. Scientists planted hemp along the Chernobyl exclusion zone and saw something astonishing: cesium, absorbed strontium, absorbed cadmium, absorbed uranium, absorbed lead, absorbed. Its long taproot system acted like a biological pump. Its huge biomass stored contaminants safely in stems, leaves, and roots. And unlike delicate plants that die under stress, hemp thrived, even in radioactive soil. It was cheap, it was scalable, and it didn't need pesticides, fertilizer, or fancy irrigation systems. For the first time, scientists realized that cannabis, the plant demonized for decades, might help heal one of the worst environmental disasters in human history. Why hemp works so well. 1. Insanely fast growth. Hemp can grow up to 4 meters, 13 feet, in 90 days. This means multiple phytoremediation cycles per year. 2. Deep and aggressive root system. While many plants only clean surface soil, hemp's taproots reach deeper layers, pulling metals most crops can't access. 3. High tolerance to toxicity. Where other plants shrivel, hemp adapts. It handles nutrient-poor, acidic, salty, or contaminated soils better than nearly any other phytoremediation crop. 4. Multi-metal absorption. Some plants only absorb lead, some only absorb cadmium, some only absorb radioactive elements. Hemp? It absorbs all of them at once: metals, radionuclides, and even some organic pollutants. 5. Massive biomass. More plant equals more storage for toxins. Hemp produces 5 to 10 times more biomass than Indian mustard, making it far more efficient. In other words, hemp is a phytoremediation tank, fast, strong, and able to handle almost any battlefield. Comparison: sunflowers. great for radioactive cleanup. Used at Fukushima, but extremely sensitive to climate and soil quality. Low biomass compared to hemp. Indian mustard, excellent at absorbing lead and cadmium, grows quickly, but produces smaller biomass. Not ideal for large-scale or deep soil cleanup. Willows and poplars can clean groundwater and deep soil. Good for long-term remediation, but slow-growing, require years or decades. Hemp outperforms because it grows in 3 months instead of 3 years, absorbs multiple contaminants, thrives in poor soil, produces tons of biomass, can be planted repeatedly. In many trials, hemp matched or beat mustard and sunflower in total contamination removal, especially in heavily polluted zones. Why old cleanup methods failed before hemp and phytoremediation became popular? One of the most common cleanup strategies was land farming. And land farming sounds simple. Dig up the soil, spread it out, let microbes break down pollutants. But here's the problem. Microbes can't break down heavy metals. Metals don't biodegrade, ever. Land farming only affects shallow layers. It takes years or decades. It requires constant monitoring and heavy machinery. For deep contamination, radioactive zones, and metal-rich industrial sites, land farming is almost useless. Hemp was a revelation, a method that was cheap, renewable, scalable, and shockingly efficient. How hemp was blocked by its own reputation. Here's the strange twist. Even though hemp could literally clean radioactive soil, governments blocked its use for decades. Why? Because it's cannabis. Even though industrial hemp contains almost zero THC, the psychoactive chemical in marijuana, global drug bans in the 20th century didn't bother making distinctions. Everything was banned. Hemp farms, hemp research, hemp phytoremediation experiments, hemp funding, hemp field trials. For nearly 50 years, one of nature's best detox tools was sidelined due to outdated drug laws. Only recently did countries like Ukraine, Poland, Italy, France, United States, certain states, Canada, start testing hemp on contaminated land. And the results so far? Extremely promising. But we lost almost half a century of potential innovation. Wow factor. More cinematic and emotional. There's something poetic, almost ironic, about hemp's scientific comeback. A plant once demonized, mocked, restricted, and criminalized is now emerging as one of the most eco-friendly tools for healing damaged landscapes. We used it for rope in ancient ships. We used it for paper in China 2,000 years ago. We used it for textiles, oil, food, and medicine. But now, we might use it to clean toxic soil, restore polluted farmland, reclaim industrial waste sites, heal radioactive exclusion zones, revive ecosystems we thought were lost forever. Nature had the solution the whole time. We just didn't bother to look. Limitations, challenges. Of course, hemp isn't perfect. It cleans slowly. Over multiple planting cycles, it struggles with extremely deep contamination. Toxic biomass must be safely stored or processed. Some metals reduce growth rates. Not all hemp strains are equal. Selective breeding is needed. Climate affects absorption efficiency. But compared to excavation, chemical treatment, or land farming, hemp is cheaper, faster, scalable, renewable, carbon-negative, safe, globally accessible. Some scientists believe it could be one of the best natural tools for restoring land damaged by mining, agriculture, weapons testing, and industrial pollution. From Chernobyl's radioactive soil to Italy's polluted farmland and America's abandoned mines, hemp is proving itself as one of nature's most powerful environmental allies. A plant that once faced global bans, misinformation campaigns, and cultural stigma is now being rediscovered as a regenerative technology capable of reversing decades of human damage. It may not be the perfect solution. No single plant is. But when it comes to cleaning up the world we've polluted, heavy Metal Kush might be one of the most unexpected and impressive heroes we've ever had.